Поехали. So, no, well, guys, we're gonna make a small recording today. So, greetings from my heart, and thank you for coming. Um, Today is truly a topic, which is a mystical topic for all English-speaking people, as everybody knows such a mushroom and saw it in their lives. The red mushroom with the white dots is the only emoji of smile of a mushroom that we actually have on the phone. It's actually the most photographed mushroom in the world. It is the most recognized mushroom in the world. And yet, so popular as it already is, we know almost nothing, like nothing, of this mushroom. And eventually, to share the story whole, maybe first I'll introduce myself. That my name is Vadim. I come from Estonia, and I do shamanic work and healing for almost 13 years. In the last 3 years, I worked with exactly Amanita Muscaria, or the Flyagaric mushroom, as they share in English. And it took me literally 10 years of proving myself and developing until Amanita invited me in and decided to open the door of the mystery, because this is one of the most lost mysteries in human history. But how and why? Let's go a little bit into the question. So, first of all, in our modern days, we understand that spirituality is one of the most important key things if we really want to change the world. And people are more and more fond into the things which can really bring that spiritual, unique knowledge or connection, which can open up. So we have around the world for spirituality. We mostly use first of all different scriptures. So if we go into religion, like we have some young and old religions, like for example, like Muslim is the most youngest religion. Then Christianity is like older, it's like 2,000 years. Then we go on. We have Buddhism, which is about 4,000 years. And if we go already to the Jewish scripture or the Kabbalah, it's about 5,000, 4,000 years old. And some of the most best saved ancient spiritual scriptures are the Veda books, which are accessible to everybody. That's why, like Hinduism is so interesting to study, as is the oldest written public knowledge on spirituality and how the world is structured that we have saved in writings. But that's it. Like what was before 5,000 years, we don't mostly know. But what was happening that as humanity, we were using different medicine plants to experience spirituality in a practical way before we started to structure it. So before 5,000 years, most of all, we used different medicine plants, and we have right now already researches and scientific studies on which medicine came at which period of time to humanity. So let's say religion finishes about like 6,000 years ago. After that, we have spiritual practices. So the spiritual practices that right now are becoming more and more popular, and especially from, let's say, plants of medicine, right now became very popular. Ayahuasca, for example. With it, there's also an yopo and peyote and other medicine, which mostly comes from central part of America. This tradition, it's about 10, 12,000 years old. Older are psilocybin mushrooms. So mushrooms are more older than these plants. We used mushrooms before we started to use other medicine plants. So psychedelic mushrooms, the tradition lies to about 15,000 years of usage. But before psychedelic mushrooms, the very first mushroom that humanity used was and is Amanita Muscaria. Yes, Flyagaric is the most ancient mushroom that was ever used in humanity. It was the very first, is the fundament. After creating connection with this plant, we discovered the rest. We learned how to work with the spiritual world. We discovered there are spirits in other plants. we ask for wisdom to show us other medicine, and eventually the Amanita showed the psychedelic mushrooms. The Amanita psychedelic mushrooms showed ayahuasca, peyote, and the rest. You understand? So the fundament is mushrooms, and the very fundament of mushrooms is Amanita Muscaria. That's why it is called the father or the king of mushrooms. By shamans around the world, Amanita is called the king of mushrooms because he is the forefather of all the rituals, of all the spiritual practices, of everything. And for that reason, it is very important to understand, or this gives us the explanation why we know it. It doesn't matter from which country, from which culture, you just show and everybody knows it. So, and this tradition, of that reason, has the opportunity of giving the most profound answers to any type of questions. And of that reason, this mushroom was kind of hidden, especially in the 20th century. This mushroom was always used, but then eventually the 20th century was, you can say, a big change. The moment when, let's say, the doctors and medicine started to do money for healing people, uh, they started to profit on sicknesses of people. And through that, it is more effective to keep the person sick rather than to heal him. That's why, beginning 20th century and everything behind that, you would always heal with medicine from plants, from nature. If you go to a pharmacy, you would find 95, 98% of plants, of mushrooms, of just Ayurveda, like in India. But now when you enter a pharmacy, even the Ayurveda pharmacy, they're putting chemicals. Without the chemistry, they don't allow even the plants to be sold. And this is how they abuse and destroy the people. So give you a very simple understanding. Why did this happen? So at the end of the 19th century, we had, let's say, an industrial revolution, including connected with oil. Oil, it comes from the nature, but what they have get through the chemistry research, they can take from oil, they can get almost any type of elements. So what they did, they were not only selling oil, they understood how we can make more profit. It's like, oh, look at this, we have so much chemistry. What we can do? Let's make medicine. And literally, in the 20th century, the oil companies and the billionaires, they financed the education and built medical universities, which doctors, doctors were educated to stop using plants and start to use chemistry. This all started in the 20th century. Before that, we only used, from the moment the money came from the oil companies, that is the moment the fooling of everybody started. And the doctors, they were educated, and right now there may be 7, 8, 10 generations just in chemistry. Only chemistry, because they were only given this information. And the doctors, they just, let's say, that's why the doctors, the classical ones, they can never heal you. That's why the doctor is your best friend for a lifetime. And the older you get, the more you're connected with him. And it's not the mistake of the doctors, they might be good and very honest people, it's just the lack of knowledge and wisdom. And once anybody understands, they don't know what to do because all of the system was created not in one day, but through many generations of the 20th century. So to jump out of this rabbit hole, it takes a lot of strength, knowledge, and wisdom, and study of something what they don't educate them in the universities, and that is studying and using plants of nature. So of that reason, we have a fight which was created in the 20th century against everything what can give human freedom, and that is plants and mushrooms. Like mushrooms, so you would know, even in biology and science, there we have plants. That's one type of life form. There's living beings as humans, so like birds, animals. These are called living beings. But there's something in between, which is a third kingdom, and there are mushrooms. And mushrooms, they combine as plant and as real human beings in one. And that mushroom is the oldest kind of human, of life form ever existed here on Earth. So they're more older, let's say, kind living here than we are. So for that reason, if you use them, you get connected with the whole of planet because they're the core essence bridge between the plants and the living. So, of that reason, there's a huge fight against everything that is from nature, that is free, that is cheap, and even I'll share as we're in India. Uh, in the Middle Ages, the most richest people were the ones who traded with spices. But why spices? Because spices in our modern days, we think they were eating like for taste, and because of the taste, they liked it so much. Like bullshit. They're just like one small part, the main part of spices, is natural antibiotics. It's medicine. You understand? And it's medicine that heals. And why would Europe and so many people travel just for the taste? They travel for the medicine. The spices are the medicine. That's why you paid so much money, because it really healed you. But in our modern days, everybody forgot about that. And they're paying huge amount of money for bullshit crap, chemistry, which, how did they do that? They analyzed the nature. They found the good components in that plant, which we use, and they make chemistry. So simple. But what is the difference between chemistry and plants? Chemistry and all the modern medicine, it's like the World Bank. It's like a bank where you come, and when you get money, nobody will give you money just for free. Nobody will give you money even for the equal amount of giving back the energy. The bank will only give you money so you would return more money. That's it. It won't give you. So imagine medicine is the same thing. They will heal you, so you would always come back. They will never give you freedom. They want you forever to return. And that's why chemistry, as it heals, so it takes away. It never gives the opportunity for a person to heal the soul. All of medicine of the 20th century is focused on the body. And this is another very important thing to understand. In the 20th century, in science, they have taken away such a word which sounds bizarre to take it out, especially I think for Indian living. But imagine that in modern science, we don't have such a term as soul. There's no soul in science. There's no soul in modern medicine. There's no soul in you when the doctor meets you. You understand? It's a philosophical lie of which any doctor is actually torturing you because he never asked what's on your soul. And it doesn't matter how you heal the body. If the soul is in pain, the sickness will come back and even stronger. Because every sickness, yes, please?
What is soul? Is it the mind?
No, the soul, let's put it in a very simple way. This is exactly connected with how this game works and how this game works. That this game, and as we know as from the Veda, it's a simulation for the soul. Soul is the most important, and this is a simulation, an illusion. It's a game that was made by Brahma just to develop the soul, just to see how these multiple parts would act, how they would adapt, how they would discover. So the soul is the whole full essence, which all of our ancient knowledge tells us that this is all an illusion. You came with your soul and you will go away with your soul. You will only carry out the experience that you got here. And that's why our bodies, and this is what they don't teach in school, they're automatic. Many things happen automatically. Like our brain, it works so genius that our souls are as if in a theater. We're just like sitting and just observing this life. Because we don't think how to push now the blood through our veins. We're not thinking I need to breathe now, or I need to move 30 muscles here. So one of the things that what they don't teach in school is that your brain is a different living being. It's a different computer through which your soul plays. So that's why all of the ancient scripts tell you, understand your mind, distinguish from your mind. Because you're not the mind, you're the soul who's playing through the mind. You're the soul who's playing through the body. And if a person, let's say from his childhood, they tell him that he doesn't have a soul, he associates all of his life with his mind. But our mind and our computer, how it works, that our mind is like an antenna. It captures all of the vibrations. And the thoughts that we have inside is not, in majority of time, our thoughts. It's the thoughts which are around or were put inside of us. Or the vibration is, and this you can see clearly when you go into like an event where there's a lot of drunken people. The moment you enter, you get those vibrations and thoughts and that. This is a very easy way to see how the antenna works. The more clear you see, the more higher your vibration, the more you can connect with your antenna, whatever you want. But if you don't know that your body and your mind is an antenna and automatic, then you will associate all of the thoughts and information with riddles in your mind with yourself. And you become a stupid slave because you don't think that you're thinking, that you're acting how you think, how you want, when in truth, it is full manipulation. And that's why only the development of consciousness or the soul can give you the control over the mind, and through that the control over the reality. Because everything around is just a vibration from what we feel inside. That's why if you think of your life, the only change which ever happens, it's only when we make a conclusion inside of us. When we make a conclusion, we had a situation, we had some kind of hard adventure, and until we won't make a conclusion, nothing will change. And if we ignore making a conclusion, life will bring us again this problem, even worse. And we don't understand, it will bring it even more worse, until we won't make a conclusion. Because all of this is a simulation for the soul. All of this obeys the soul, not the mind, not the body, but the soul. Because the soul is the fundament of this game. So if you want to get control of this matrix, this reality and Maya, you have to just open your soul and put it in front. Use your soul, your desires, in the whole beautiful way. And stop doing what you don't want to do. Be more honest with yourself. Feel, don't think. And then it will give you. So a very such practical advice that I can tell you how you can distinguish what comes from the soul and what comes from the mind, that the mind, it works with logic and emotions. Imagine you come back home or remember after work or something, and you have some ideas that you need to do or you need to do that, but you come in the evening, the moment you enter your house, the mind's like, whoo, feel tired, and you start to feel tired. It's like, you need to do this, because it's like, oh dude, you did so much today. Come on, relax. Tomorrow you'll do it. And first he sends you an emotion of tiredness, like this, and then it sends logic attack. It tells you why you feel it. And if the person is unconscious, it's like, yeah, I had a long day, yeah, I'll rest, I'll do it tomorrow. And eventually the mind fooled the soul agreed to do what the mind wanted, and we didn't develop. We didn't do the new action. The mind won. So until we won't learn to do and overcome the mind, we will always obey what it tells. And until a person won't distinguish the voices between the mind, what it catches, and the soul, it is very hard to control your reality. Because you will be always acting in different ways simply because you just don't understand what to do. because there's so many different thoughts and there's so many aspects and there's so much. So to make it all clear, it's so important just to increase our level of energy and to distinguish our soul from our mind. And this exactly, let's say, in this exactly problem and question comes Amanita. So Amanita Muscaria, first of all, it has a lot of healing components inside of it. I'll try to name them in English. It's like, oh no, I don't know how to like half sugary, if that would be translated from Russia, aminokislоты, amino acids, organic acids, fat acids, antibiotics, minerals, and vitamins, and other things. This is just a part of a very, so imagine that I told you, even people are buying, like, go to doctors to get one antibiotic. And it's very dangerous. You have to consume it very carefully. And
Antibiotics are dangerous.
yes, very dangerous. Antibio kills life. You got it? Antibiotic, anti-biology, kills life forms. That's why when you're using antibiotics, you're killing the life forms inside of you. And if you're using chemistry to kill that, it will kill not only, let's say, the disease, but it will also kill you and your immune system and your own bacteria that live inside. That's why the doctors, when they give prescription for antibiotics, because they're so dangerous. And imagine that here in the mushroom, it's not only antibiotics, natural ones, which are non-dangerous at all, because they're biological. Sound like spices, biological. The body knows like the difference. Like if it's chemistry done, the body can only take a small part from it because its structure, it's let's say all around in nature. There's no one element divided from the others. Every element is connected to another element. So if you're smoking weed, you would have not their only cannabinoids or THC, you would have, there's so many elements. The same with the mushroom. I told you only the healing components. Yeah, so many, but only from the healing. Antibiotics, yeah, vitamins, minerals, yeah, acids, different types, and other things. And here we have just a group. And eventually, what are medicine plants? They are the plants which have such a huge amount of healing components, which the body can choose itself what it needs and doesn't need. So when you eat them, what it needs it takes, what it doesn't need it lets go. But if you take antibiotics, they stay in your body. If you, for example, if your doctor tells you eat some vitamin C and you buy a pill and there's, I don't know, 100 milligrams of vitamin C, only 1% of this 100 milligrams your body will take in. 99% he won't be able to digest it. He won't be able from this, you can say, blocked crystal like soil to take anything out because it's like not natural. It's all like flipped together. And that's why if you eat antibiotics or you use modern medicine, or I say oil medicine, the black oil, then of course it will be super hard for your body to throw it out. It doesn't have a natural structure and it gets stuck inside of the body. And that's why people will stay sick. And if you use them incorrectly, you will very damage your immune system. And when you don't have the energy and you have a damaged immune system, you will never have a good functioning brain. If you don't have a good functioning brain, you will never be able to control with your soul, your body and mind. So from our childhood, they try to make a person very weak. And now, as I told you the story, that they started to use chemistry, how do they implement it into our lives? When a person is born, they already make an injection. Do you think they make injections to very rich families? No, it's only for the slaves. Only slaves get injections in their childhood. And then the slaves have to get more injections, because if they don't get it, they will get healthy, strong. They will rebel. They will take away. Imagine if in India people would wake up and take away from the international corporations, the natural resources which are here. Understand? But everybody are stupid. Why? Because from childhood they use soap, they use shampoo, they use oils, they use toothpaste. Now think, I told you that our soul plays through the mind, through the brain. So this is the most important thing that we have. If we want to take control of our human, we have to first of all take control of the brain. We have to make it stupid. That's why right now it's so funny to see in India like the TVs which they show with those stupid music videos. But between the music videos, they always show the same commercials for hair shampoo, for face. It's always connected with chemistry and always focused on the face. Pay attention on that. I had the same when I was small. After the Soviet Union fell down, they showed the same bullshit. Uh, so what they're doing, they're educating from childhood people to use chemistry on their head, which is the closest part to the brain. If you use like shampoo on a daily basis, did you ever look how much chemistry there's inside? Do you know even what it stands for? Do you even know which destruction? If I told you like, would you like bring you a can of black oil and they'll like wash your head? You would never do that. But this is what they do. They say, put some oil on your head, put some black oil in your mouth, put some oil on your face. And through this, children are being poisoned from childhood. That's why when kids even grow up and even by leading everything good, by the age of 30, many already have problems with their hair or don't have hair. They have problems with their faces, with their skin, and especially by women, you can say girls, they use the biggest amount of chemistry on their face. They have always the worst skin. If you look, men have good skin on face, right? Women have worse skin, biggest problems. Because they always are using chemistry. And it's not fault, they were educated to do that. They destroyed their skin. And they try to heal it, but they're healing it with something that destroys it, chemistry. So it's an eternal process. You understand? So that reason, best of all, is just to understand that it's a lie, what they give us. And we have to understand that they attack us from all of the sides, from injections, through chemistry, which they tell us to wash our faces and brush our teeth, and finishing with the food that we eat. In India, it's a very good example that in Europe they have already forbidden many of the chemistry, let's say, elements to use in the production of food. But in India, it's still allowed. Such horrible chemistry, like compounds, which are used in the cookies that are sold everywhere to the kids, and that and this. And people think it's something good to buy cookies for kids. But if I told you that this is actually like literally like drugs, chemistry drugs, which make the child get addicted to sugar and also destroys the immune system and especially the brain. The brains will be stupid by people who eat a lot of sugar. So, and plus, I'll even say that sugar has the same impact on the same part of the brain as cocaine. So, putting simple, when a child is eating candy, and you know this moments when the child just shouts and asks for the mother to give it, look, it's a drug addict. It's the same cocaine, drug addict, only small, who wants some pleasure. And he's willing to do anything because it's a child, he doesn't understand, the mind just reacts. It's pleasure. And he has to do everything to get this pleasure. So we're creating drug-addicted kids from childhood that we put in them chemistry from childhood into the mouth, into their hair, into their face, into their eyes, into their hands, and all around the body. And also we inject them, and always inject them almost every year. That make new injections for kids in schools. So of that reason, or and thanks to that, we get a very good group of slaves. Of humans who are stupid, of humans who cannot control their body, who cannot control their health, and who always think that they think for themselves. When actually all the thoughts are being manipulated and put inside of them. So, and this is the reason why, let's say, spirituality and let's say, conscious awakening is so important. If you don't consciously awake, you will be continuing to being abused. So simple. If you don't control your body and you don't control your mind, they control you. Somebody else always controls. A person who is not making decisions for himself in his reality. If you don't believe you control this reality, well, don't believe. We'll choose for you. Just watch this film where you will have a horrific future, where people will fight against each other, where people will live in poverty and will live in the digital world and won't have nothing. And if a person doesn't say no, and he just watches this film, it's already yes. This how it manifests. And so it manifests into the reality. That's why all of the films are focused on the things which will keep people stupid, afraid, and hate other humans. And that's why all of the Bollywood, Hollywood, and etc., they're developing scenarios so people would agree for that type of future. And if a person consciously says no, he gives his confirmation and yes. So to say no, we need that energy. So what does Amanita Muscaria give us? It gives us and provides us the opportunity and that energy for our body to recover. When you start to consume it, you finally get those missing pieces of the biological, let's say, medicine which you needed. And at the same time, it has inside of it three active, let's say, psychoactive components. Is ibotenic acid, muscimol, and muscarine. Ibotenic acid is partly poisonous to the brain, like neurons. Uh, so what we do, it only exists in fresh Amanita muscaria. So when we dry it, it transforms. In the ibotenic acid, it becomes muscimol. Muscimol is exactly the one that is the healing and that helps us to get that support. And in the opposite, it develops the brain cells and gives unbelievable recovery for the brain. So eventually, once we dry Amanita, we can then use it without, let's say, any negative effects. You can eat even the fresh mushroom. You won't die or get poisoned. The only thing, like if you ever tried ayahuasca and you use it, you afterwards like vomit and you have stomach problems. So if I call Amanita and ayahuasca, then ayahuasca is 10 and Amanita creates such a feeling by, let's say, level 1. You will feel it, you might have some stomach problems, but
when it is dry, then not even.
then it's impossible.
Then zero.
Yes, zero. And this is exactly that essence that from ancient times Amanita was gathered, and it was usually for 2-3 months, let's say, dried, kept in a dark place, and then eventually it was already used as medicine. So people would gather it at, especially in end of summer, beginning of autumn, the shamans, then they would dry it, and then on the 22nd of December, on the winter solstice, they would typically make a ritual. So in ancient times, for example, this tradition from the Siberian shamans, that typically, well, I will even open up it a little bit more open. So, have you ever wondered why on Christmas, from where comes such a character called Santa Claus? Why is he riding the reindeer? And why do kids get presents? What a story, from where it comes from. Like,
And he wears this red cloth.
yes. So eventually this story, this is also our ancient traditional story about the shaman who is on the winter solstice, went for the answers to the spirits, got the answers and brought the gifts back to the people. So I'll even share in details, like the reindeer. Why the reindeer? Because the reindeer was the first animal which showed to our ancient, let's say, ancestors who lived in the north that you could eat Amanita muscaria. They looked and that the deer became weak, old, or if it got hit sick, it would always search for this mushroom. And when it would find it, it would eat and would get its energy back. It would recover from everything and would get like in such a childish play that they understood that there's something in this mushroom. So thanks to exactly the reindeer, the deer they discovered the medicine. So that's why the deer it's a symbol and it's also the symbol of the spirit of the forest. And also, what's interesting that in all times in Siberia, the first like rituals what they did because, as I told you, in the fresh amanita it has ibotenic acid. So how they filtered it out, they gave it to the deer. The deer ate it, and then he pissed out already the muscimol and muscarine, and then they used the urine ready to use it for the journey and they could repeat it like 5 times. You lose like 20% every time. So it's just this old ancient way on how they were using it. That's why you have the deer, the red nose. Now you understand why it's connected. That it's connected with exactly Amanita Muscaria. And the story that, let's say, the gifts. What do they ask the kids? Write, tell what you want. We always ask the kids, tell what you want. Because if you don't tell, well, you don't get, let's say, the gift. And this is the interesting thing that with Amanita, you always ask a question and you always get the answer. Like, always. It's just like permanent. And that's why it's like Google. You know, you can get from Google any information, but it will be only based the search on what you type in. If you don't type in and put search, it won't show you nothing. Here, it's like copy paste. Oh, merci beaucoup, mademoiselle.
So one should, before starting to consume Amanita muscaria, one should ask oneself what is the question that one needs the answer for, right?
So yes, if to put it in such a like simple form, when you start to work with Amanita Muscaria, you have to make straight about yourself what you want. Like what do you want to change in your life? What do you want to get rid of? What do you want to heal? What do you want to understand deeper? And it's like literally Google, and if you don't yet understand which question to ask, you can literally ask to Amanita that please help me to understand what I need to see clear so my life will become beautiful and happy. What I need to do to get my strength and my health and everything in a heavenly, beautiful way and reality. And by asking this, you already have formulated, like to the Google or to the spirits, to God, the questions, and He will help for you to hear the answer from your soul, or it will give the answer through an outside situation, through the people, through a coincidence. But you will definitely see, like when you ask the question, it definitely gives the answer. For you, it's now just matter of noticing, because God He likes to speak not in a human language in words. For Him is the lowest level of communication. He likes to make it more thinner. He likes to speak in symbols. Because it would be like, you know, how boring you sit like, God, where's my love? What do I have to do to find her? And then God comes to your ears and like, okay, go out from the building, walk there 1 kilometer, then 2 to the side, then go to that. It would be very boring if we would get the answers in this game, like so obvious. And that's why it is all made in such a very wise way, in which we have the freedom of taking in what we request or not taking in. It's a freedom. It's for the soul to decide. But if the soul is not deciding, if it's not confident in making the steps, then it's missing out all of the gift that is given. The gift of the freedom of time that we can spend here to enjoy this game. And this is what they try to do, is to neutralize the soul, that it would stop playing. Kids are always playing. This shows our natural, let's say, this is our human being nature, to play, to discover, to enjoy. Kids know that everything was made for them. They know that they came here and everything serves them. But then the child confidence is taken away into the system where they say, no, it's not made for you. You are made for this. You're not special. Everything is special. You're just a stupid being, or like you're already sinful because, no, that's in Christianity, because of something. They destroy this confidence that this belongs to us. They destroy the confidence of discovery, destroy the confidence of your individuality. They destroy the confidence of moving on and playing and discovering, doing whatever you want. But they give you the total confidence that you know everything and that everything is good. Even though that when a person grows up, try to meet a happy person. Try to meet a happy, healthy, individual person. You know, they almost don't exist. Because to be happy in a modern time or in Kali Yuga, it takes 10 times more strength than in any other period. And it's really always a constant attack on the whole humanity. And it's a lot easier to be down, negative, rather than happy and joyful. So, but when we find our connection with our soul, when we really understand what brings us happiness, why did I come here, which epic game I want to play, once we have straight about us, we don't care about the rest. You understand? Once we find and make for ourselves the fundament of the straight picture of what is our soul, what we want to do, what is the reality where we want to live in, everything will have to make it real. But until our soul doesn't request, doesn't formulate, doesn't make that, it will never come to be. So simple. And right now, there's a huge attack on whole humanity, on its health and immune system. And I have people, not like I feel people around the world, and I have people on the course. I have right now already 130 people online who I've given the wisdom and helped to heal with Amanita. And really some of the most like sad stories which I'm trying to fix. It's mostly by elderly people who made for them shots of vaccine. And one shot, mostly unwalkable, but second shot, even people who were doing yoga almost all of their lives, eating good dietary, disgusting things happen to their health. They lose full control, full energy.
Everybody's feeling it, whoever taken the vaccine.
Yes, and this is the thing that exactly of this huge, unbelievable attack of lie, of fear on humanity, Amanita came out by the request of the shamans, by the request of the people who really want to heal and want to see the change in this world. And it's partly like if you played Mario and he's also eating the mushroom, becoming called big and strong, that the mushroom can provide the opportunity for a human soul to get the whole control over its health, its reality, and also its spiritual, let's say, powers and possibilities, capabilities. But it all happens in a natural way, step by step. And of that reason, I educate all people to use Flyagaric in a microdose way. Because when you use it in big amount, you will get a journey. But do you need this journey? Do you need all of the answers to be given you in such a short and sometimes very stressful way? Because Amanita He will give you the answers. It doesn't matter, are you ready or not? So if you have made a confident decision for yourself to change, do it in a wise way. And remember, that life, it's not a sprint. It's not who's faster will run now. It's a marathon. It's an aspect of you just to continue moving all the time. And who is always moving and who will have the energy to increase this movement, he will always win. It doesn't matter the person got drunk or ate some kind of psychedelics and got some enlightenment answers. Afterwards, he always falls down. He made the sprint, but afterwards he has to wait to chew everything through. And while he's chewing through, the more higher the discovery, the more longer he will sit on one spot. And if the experience was very hard, he will be even afraid, like to change, to study it and to go deeper. So, best of all is to use, let's say, our soul and Google of our soul through Amanita on a daily basis. On a daily basis, so we would step by step make everything clear. And that's why, let's say, for a journey you need, let's say, 10 to 12 grams per person to travel. Then here, I say you need to make 20-25 grams of Amanita in 1 month. Rather than to making like 2 intense journeys, spread it out for 30 days and use this power and wisdom of change consciously. The specialty about Amanita, that if you're, for example, microdosing with psilocybin mushrooms, they give you an effect and a healing while you consume them. You can see even the visuals, etc. But once you stop consuming them, your mind comes to the natural sense where it was. But with Amanita, everything, what you have developed, it stays with you. And that's it. And now imagine how effective it is. That you can always just move on, and move on, and move on, and move on. And you can always decide yourself the speed and the pace, but you can always make the next step without any energy pay, without any fallout in the... It will just be with you and be like Shiva. You don't see him, but when you're with him, you always know that he's with you. And here the mushroom will become so noticeable as Shiva can be in your life. You will feel totally his presence. You will heal your soul more stronger, as Amanita will be making it louder. It will calm down your mind, so you would just do what you want to do. All of us know what we have to do. It's all the aspect of being stronger, more conscious than the mind. So just to make the action and not to lose the time in the thinking or the logic or the emotions. Because the mind, it tries to save the energy. I share with you that it's an individual like biocomputer. Its main function, so you would understand, the mind, our brain was made so our body would live. It's responsibility that our body would live. That is number one. When it has made this function, it goes into power-saving energy mode. So that's why we, all humans, are lazy. It's not because, let's say, that's our nature. It's the nature of our brain. If it has an opportunity not to use the energy, it will save it. Like in nature. In nature, a lion will only hunt when it needs food. After it got the food, it just lays down and that's it. And here our brain is really so simple that it tries to save the energy. And that's why every time when you try to make something new, a new discovery, a new thing, imagine that our brain has neurons and how it works. I'll give a visual example. Like here we have, let's say, the chest, and imagine that this is just grass, and this is a field of grass. And when you just start to do something, there's not a single footprint. But when you start to learn something, you make the first step, then the second step, then the third step, fourth step, fifth step. And it can be connected with learning a language, with learning to ride a bike, with starting a new concept in your mind or in your life, in a new study. But like the first steps, they're the hardest because they were not done before. So what the brain tries, it tries to tell you, don't make this step, don't make this step, don't make this step. It tries to use logic and emotions to put you to the side. But once you made the first steps, afterwards, it will be very easy to repeat. But the problem is, it will always go first of all. Remember that it tries to use the minimum amount of energy, so it will try to use the same path. And that's why it's hard to make a step to the right, to the left. So by understanding how the neurons work, we understand that making a first step is really hard. But the more often we repeat it, the more easier the energy of our brain neurons goes through there. And that's why a habit becomes more and more easier the more you repeat it. And also remember that that's why the old mindset and this everything what happens, our brain runs by old roads that it has made. Because it knows all of the answers how to fool the consciousness. And that's why every day it tries to bring us back to our old neurons paths. And if you want to make something new, we have to make a step to the side. But to make a step to the side, for that we need energy. And this is why the medicine plants are very effective for creating new neurons, new paths, new habits. And that's why during Amanita, it's important to understand this, that you get the opportunity for change. You get the opportunity of right now easily to have the capacity of controlling your mind just to do what you know you have to do. And this is the most valuable thing. This is why he is the king of mushrooms. Because he doesn't guide you just there. He wants you to be here. And to have here the control of the most beautiful and unbelievable game that ever existed. And the game is called here, right now, the present moment. So, and by using this energy and following what you really desire, you will open up all of your traumas, you will heal all of your problems, you will change everything in your reality what you desire. The more energy you have and the more you understand that everything is made for you, the easier you let go. One important thing, as we're in India and we have close Indian friends here, that's one of the ways how India has been controlled. And what did the British do? No, like that today India is so rich by resources but so poor, the normal people, that they have destroyed the wisdom, the knowledge of Shiva. The Shiva, all of people are afraid to destroy. When you're afraid to destroy, you won't get something new.
What is Shiva?
Let's say that Shiva is the archetype for the male energy. It's male wisdom. It's the knowledge that this is a game, like a small boy. He comes out, he plays, he likes to break because he knows there's more than enough of everything. But when we're being grown up, everything is says, don't touch this, don't touch that, don't do this. And through this comes a fear of destroying, of letting go. Maybe there won't be enough of resources. Maybe I won't have that. Maybe this is my one and only chance. And send this fear of letting go, fear of trusting life, fear of destroying something what you don't like, fear of saying no, fear of showing how you feel. This was taken away by man, not only in India but all around the world. But in India especially, because if you would remember the wisdom of Shiva, you would have one of the most rebellion nations in the world, which could really assist and help everybody to overcome their problems. Because you're the only country and land which has written text of the most ancient wisdom that we have in the world. And for that reason, So Indian people wouldn't get the freedom and the power what they have. They took away the fundamental, the philosophy for man, Shiva, the confidence of destruction, the confidence that you can have something better, the confidence that you deserve more, the confidence that you matter, the confidence that you can do whatever you want and not to think of the rest because you're Shiva. So, and this is exactly what Amanita helps to bring back. It is in the same pleasant and confident way as Shiva that it doesn't need any service. It doesn't need anything from the people. When compared to other medicine plants, you can just ask and you will get. And the more sincere you ask, the more sincere it will be given to you. And then, like with the gifts of Shiva, you have to act. You have to make the change. You have to enjoy this change, this destruction of your life. You have to enjoy that you will transform everything. And until people are afraid to play the game, to be in life, how can you use it? How can you enjoy it? And life, it truly loves all people who enjoy it. It's Shakti. It's like love between Shiva and Shakti, eternally. So, what does love Shakti, or what does Maya love? What is the woman energy love? That somebody would come and enjoy and take what is given. Who are the most beloved kids by all mothers? The most active ones. Who are the favorite players of any game developer? The best players. You understand? The ones who are taking the most from the game are the ones to whom God and the spirits look the most. Very logical. Understand? And that's why the spirits and Shiva and all have their favorite players. All of them have favorite humans, the ones who use their soul and do sometimes the most craziest shit. Because it's so much interesting to see what a human can do rather than can do a robot or a bot, as we say. And a bot, you know, like if you play computer games, we have players and we have bots. The bot, the specialty is that it always stands in one place. Doesn't matter in which part of the game or which level you come, it's always on the same place. You speak with him. He gives you the same answers. He has the same problems. This really often reminds me of some people I know back at home. You understand? So when everybody are born, everybody are real. But then the older you get, the less humans survive. The more bots appear. And it's a freedom of choice which was taken from, let's say, the conscious view of humanity, that we're here to enjoy any type of life form that we decide, and that all of this was just made for us, and it only obeys us, the people who are here, the souls who are here. We are creating everything around. And if we don't agree on the reality and we don't see which one we want, we always agree on what is being offered to us from childhood, by the system, by the TV, by the disgusting films and politicians. So, in our modern days, Amanita truly will become, I would say, something like Bitcoin of the 21st century. From the aspect, it will become very popular. It will become one of the most key roles in helping humanity in the 21st century to open their true potential.
So
yeah.
it gives the mind high as well?
So what it gives, let's say, speak about the effect. So if you use the mushroom in the morning, it works like a coffee or two coffees. It gives you energy, strength, and straightness, you know, like sharpness. Sharpness, like as if You know, those moments when there's a situation when you just have to be conscious and focused. Like here, imagine they will just turn it on as if there's kind of, I don't know, even some danger. No, in the sense, to show you the level of awareness. Imagine when it's dangerous, you have this level of awareness that you're very, but at the same time, it gives you this awareness with the deepest level of peace. So you're totally relaxed, yet you control your body as if, like typically you would get this control if you have some kind of danger or problem, like serious. Then your mind gives you this control over the body. Here you get this control, and but at the same time this total peace. And of that reason, it is so interesting that you can easily do everything what you know you have to do, but you won't like riddle yourself. You won't waste time on thinking, analyzing, debating inside of you. You just do it. And that's why it's a mushroom for grown-ups. Like psychedelic mushrooms is like for teenagers because it's very interesting. It's very it gives a very wider, broader understanding that life is a lot more brighter. But Amanita, it's already for grown-ups because here you can change everything, and that's it. You can change everything. What you want to change, this is what you have to understand. And if you don't yet understand, understand your soul. If you can't understand your soul, well, start to work with Amanita. Start to focus your questions connected with you and dedicate yourself towards finding finally a path to the only valuable thing here for you. It's your soul. When you die, you won't take your body away. You'll go away with your soul. You won't take relatives. You won't take money. You won't take nothing. You'll only take the experience that you gather with your soul. So understand what brings happiness to your soul. Which game it would be very enjoyable to play. And with finding this answer, you will find big strength and energy. The ones that you had when you were 4 and 5 and went to the courtyard to play with kids. That's energy and strength which can bend any reality and which can touch any heart that it meets on its place. So yeah, I would say for today, this will be such a... Now,
How much? How, so we can buy Amanita from you?
yes, it's possible. We especially brought this, let's say, a year ago. I started this process here in Goa by bringing my medicine for the first time. And now already a year later, the Russian community, you can already see there's a cultural wave happening in Russia. Currently, in the last 3 years as we started the work, there's more than 100,000 people who have already used Amanita Muscaria. So, and now its time has came to bring it to the rest of the world. Because Amanita grows also in India, in certain parts. It grows in Japan, it grows in America, it grows in Australia, it grows in New Zealand, it grows everywhere. Understand? Like almost everywhere. There's some exceptions, but in those exceptions, they exactly have other medicine plants. But Amanita, it almost exists in all of the world. So yeah, and if to speak like how to consume it and how much, so for a month, I recommend like 20, 25 grams. This will be enough. In the mornings, you consume it like 0.3 gram, and in the evening about 0.3, so 1/3 of a gram. In the morning, it's better to consume it on empty stomach. You drink some warm water first, so just to clean your stomach from everything that gathered during the night. And then afterwards, you take the spoon or make the tea for yourself and just consume it. Before consuming, give your small prayer and ask that will guide in beautiful and wonderful ways. And yes, in the morning will act like coffee, and in the evening, half an hour before the sleep is just perfect. And if you do it and you try not to eat, like say 3-4 hours before the sleep, then very high percentage you're gonna have the capacity of getting lucid dreams, or remembering or having very bright dreams, in which you will also get answers from. And the most, I would say, also important thing is when you started to microdose, you start to lead a diary. A diary, it's like one of the most like effective ways, because when you lead a diary, like when you write, or I make it digital, you write how your day, because you need to analyze which answers are coming. If you don't remember your day, if you cannot look on everything from the side, you might lose out the answers which came. And at the end of the day, or at the end of your writing the diary of the day, you just write out the questions for the next day. And if you have still something uncertain that you want to clarify, you focus on that on your question. And that's it. On next day you get even deeper understanding. So it's like working with Google search, only this Google search is with your soul. And the more effective you ask the questions and like hear the answers, the more straight it is. And every time when you write out something, you're written the neurons here. Putting simple, through that, it's a lot easier to involve. And that makes a lot more quicker change. Because most important is conclusions. If you made a conclusion for yourself, this changes how you feel inside towards life and situation. And this vibration changes the reality. It doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter often what you do. Most important is how you feel here. You can try to fake that you like are happy, etc. But you feel here bad, no matter what you do, it will still be. So the whole essence, soul, how we feel inside. We solve our questions on the inside, all of the world will change. All the world will always adapt to it. So yeah.
How much is it for Amanita Muscaria?
What?
How much is it for Amanita Muscaria?
So typically, I recommend like here with Grigory, with Grisha, he has some Amanita. So for 1 month you would need like 20 grams, and 10 grams is 1,000 rupees, so only 2,000, you can say, for the whole month of healing. And most important, it's just to focus, just to work, make your own work. And then it will give very good results. And let's eventually like see. I'm thinking like to lead maybe a course for 2 days, let's say, to share the wisdoms about Amanita, the ones who plan to microdose. When I will do it, I'll see that if anybody is interested, we can afterwards just exchange contacts. And right now I'm leading and guiding people in Russian language. Mostly I do it through Telegram. Have there like a group, like a chat where we all like connect and this and that. And typically on Sundays I make an online stream. So all the questions that have been gathered, we just work them through. And in the chat, like let's say the community or us are the most important thing. As when you're working with yourself, it's very good to have somebody to share with. This really helps to overcome better the illusions of the brain, and to see that it's normal, that it's absolutely normal that all of us, all of humans go through the same process, and the systems, how it fools us, is the same.
Meeting my wife.
Oh, maybe I'll see. I'll call Grisha. Гриша. Фиолетовый, понял. Oh, yes, we can actually make a small round.
Брать можно карточкой от вас?
Oh, let's even make like this. I shared so much with you. I'll give everybody a small piece to try.
I want to buy. I want to buy a bag.
Yes, like for microdosing, you will need like 2 bags.
Okay, and it's 1,000 each, right?
Yeah, so 2,000 for the whole month.
Sweet.
And the amount.
With this here, mine's.
So with microdosing, so you can see the typical mushroom. So with microdosing, if you have at home like a scale, then it's best of all you can use it. So 1/3 of a gram. If you don't have at home a scale, how I do, I just put a finger, and this is 1/3 of my finger. This is about 0.3, 0.4, and I just break it, and that's how I like. But just what I recommend, let's just pass it around. Take a piece, give your small prayer.
Ай, Вадим. Not only lecture, that start with practice.
Of course. So everybody would have a feeling. Because it's interesting that like people, let's say, who have like different toxins, etc., they feel the mushroom like usually in 1 week, but people here very often feel it from the first time.